A cleaning competition. Now that's an interesting concept. Could only be invented by Anne. Now that is something where I would definitely lose. Cleaning competition, no way. What about you? Anyway, that last episode was great because it helps me introduce to you one of the most difficult grammatical forms in the English language, which is called the third conditional. We have three conditionals in English. 1, 2, 3. The first, let me give you an example. If I see him, I'll tell him. That's number 1. If I saw him, I would tell him. That's number 2. Number 3 is what we're going to look at now. If I had seen him, I would have told him. Sounds terrible, doesn't it? Too much grammar. But last lesson was useful because we learned the first part of the third conditional, which is the past perfect. They used it in the episode. It was Sarah. She said, if I had known you were all going to be so amusing, I would never have organized this reunion. Now that's a good example, and it's difficult. We often use the third conditional when we talk about a regret. Let me give you an example. I saw a beautiful house. It was quite expensive, but I liked it. I needed time to think about it, and I didn't buy it immediately. And then somebody else bought it. So I think, oh, if I had bought that house, I would have been so happy. So that's expressing a regret. So let's go to the screen and see how it's constructed, because it's really not easy. It takes time to be fluent in the third conditional. The grammar is this: if, because if describes a hypothetical situation. Now, when you're talking about the third conditional, it's an unreal, it's an impossible situation because you can't change it anymore. So we start with if, then the past perfect, which we learned last lesson. Then we use would, which we also use in the second conditional, followed by have, the infinitive, and then followed by the past participle. So let's see how that works. If I hadn't gone, past perfect, to the party, I would have gone to bed early. Okay, so I went to the party and I didn't go to bed early. So the consequence is, if I hadn't gone to the party, I would have gone to bed early. But I didn't go to bed early. Okay, so what was the consequence of that? Now, imagine I drank a lot of wine and I had a terrible headache. And you think, ooh, regret. If I hadn't drunk, past perfect negative, if I hadn't drunk so much wine, I wouldn't have had such a bad headache yesterday. Now that's difficult, look at that. Wouldn't have, negative, wouldn't have, plus the past participle of the verb have. So I wouldn't have had. Now this is not easy, it will take time for you to use fluently. You have to keep practicing it. Practice it in the toilet, in the bath, when you're walking down the street. Okay. Another example. Now, I didn't set the alarm, so I woke up late. If I had remembered to set the alarm, I wouldn't have woken, past participle, up late. If I had remembered to set the alarm, I wouldn't have woken up late. Seems difficult, doesn't it? Takes practice. Another example. I missed the bus. I didn't get up. The bus went without me. So third conditional. If I had got up earlier, I would have caught the bus. If I had got up earlier, I would have caught the bus. Impossible situation, can't change it. If I hadn't been late for work because I missed the bus, so I was late for work, my boss wouldn't have been so annoyed. Wouldn't have been, you notice be in the past participle, been so annoyed. And the last one, well, we lost the contract because I went to the party, I drank too much wine and I missed the bus, everything was late. So if I hadn't gone to the party, we wouldn't have lost the contract. If I hadn't gone to that party, we wouldn't have lost the contract, okay? Terrible consequences of my irresponsible behavior. So that's the third conditional. Please don't worry, it is difficult, probably one of the most difficult things in the language, and it takes time to get fluent in it. But just keep practicing. Just take a phrase and say it to yourself often. Like, if I hadn't done that, if I had studied more, I would have passed the exam, as an example. If I had studied more, I would have passed the exam. All right? So, happy practicing. Bye.